CCD camera, and you break the video into frames, and there's 30 frames per second. Then you split the frames into fields, because each frame contains 2 scan fields, and it is in those fields we have discovered our second space phenomena. It's not a matter of finding something that is a reasonable doubt scenario. It's more about, let's just keep collecting, studying, and analyzing, and eventually the jigsaw puzzle will come together, and it's finally happened. I held a very privileged position in the city of Vancouver. I was in charge of, for the past 20 years actually, community access cable stations. And those are public stations that use volunteers, interns, make all their own programming and put it out on the cable system. Here in British Columbia and throughout the rest of Canada, we have 90% cable saturation. So it's the equivalent of having a full channel. And in my office, I had old log tapes from logging the station available, and they were supposed to be turned over after a few times, so I just piled them up. And I had VCRs. I had the means. And I talked to our technical department and asked them if they could give me my own dish. And they did. And I set my machines and went about my normal daily life of managing 2 of these facilities. And I just would go home at night after each shuttle mission, or each day of the shuttle mission, and break the tape down. And I just found myself in the unique position of having the means to do it. I was in a position to do it, and I had all the motivation. The second the shuttle countdown began, I recorded, and I stopped recording when it was at a full stop.
Right. So it was a pretty demanding exercise.
Well,
you obviously...
the SDS 61, which was the Hubble Space Telescope mission, was 36, I seem to recall, 36 tapes with 8 hours per tape. So these are, you know, you just had to keep going. Some flights are 5 days, some are 11 days, 14. The Hubble Space Telescope mission, I chose that mission not because I knew about a CCD camera or anything. I chose it because NASA had decided to make this the showcase mission. It is a very important mission. The Hubble Space Telescope is the very most delicate and important thing, and these gentlemen were going to spacewalk for 7 days and fix it. So
right.
It was even interesting for me to just watch them work in this environment. And from the very first moment, the first download came, I found our spherical phenomena.
Did you set out to try and find the phenomena, or did it start off as a sort of self-education exercise in watching the mission footage?
It was everything. It was a self-education thing. It was a curiosity of why no one from the year 1991 till 1994 had bothered to look at any other footage. And I was quite naive and wasn't aware it was all being downloaded, because I'd bought into the popular culture or the urban myth that they were scrambling at it and it wasn't available since '48. I've been an editor for 25 years as well as everything else. And I spend an awful lot of my day looking at videotape at amazingly fast speeds, reviewing people's programs for critique reasons and things. Sure. My eyes are trained, and I kept seeing something. So when I started breaking the frames down, I found you still couldn't find it. You'd go from this frame to this frame, and there'd be a quick movement. So then I had to get a videotape recorder, an SVH machine, an older model, funny enough, not the digital model, that literally, when you rolled the thing, it would break the frames into fields. And in reality, there are 60 individual pictures that make up 1 second of video. And that's when I found them.
So you were finding these on one of those 60 frames?
I found, in fact, the first one I found, I only found one.
Right.
And then I thought, well, I should be able to, if this is real, I should be able to do it again. And then I found 2. And it just went from there.
What should we really be seeing? How did you know that we were looking at something that was that shouldn't be there, that was unusual? I mean,
well, the first thing is that in my career, usually in 1 second of video, no movement happens. You can look at 60 frames and, you know, the way the movement goes, not very much happens. It's not like those flip things where the little thing moves when you flip the pages. Literally in 60 of those, nothing happens. Something was happening literally between 1/30th of a second and 1/30th of a second, because there's 30 frames per second. So it was just sort of a, let's look at this. And when I found it was in a scan field, and then the way it works is it scans and scans very fast. But the phenomena seemed to have disappeared by the second scan.
So it was moving very fast?
Very fast. So being a manager and being in charge of a television station, part of my staff is a technical staff. So I started consulting our technicians on to destroy my discovery. I wanted them to tell me that they could
You wanted
be
to
hoaxed.
critique it as heavily as you could.
I wanted them to tell me this somebody could fake this. You can't. Then I took the sample, to make a long story short, eventually made it up to the scientific community and to a think tank and a behavioral lab and physicists and astrophysicists. And they kind of, you know, just they just humored me at the start. By the end of our meetings, they had their hands on the control. They were running up to the screen, and they were holding meetings. They broke the entire pixelization process down and found it was still there.
So they really didn't expect to see anything in the beginning, but by the time you finished, they were excited.
I think they expected probably that we'd have more of a real-time phenomena, which is still spectacular.
And probably, I guess, that they felt they might be able to explain to you as something perfectly legitimate or normal for...
Well, you never know who's in the Skeptic Society of British Columbia. For instance, the X-Files actor William Davis, who is the cigarette-smoking man in the X-Files, is a member of the Skeptic Society. So I never knew with these scientists what they were trying to do to me.
Sure.
But the amazing thing about this other phenomena, the one that's virtually, I would say it's invisible, although it isn't once you see it. You begin to see it all the time. Is it blew their minds. It blew their minds.
Did they offer any explanation for what they thought it might be? Or are they as baffled?
There's a professor at Simon Fraser, Professor Weinberg, who literally said it had to be it had to be actually there, doing exactly what it was, but he could not. He said we would have to go right to NASA, and